Let me walk you through the project demonstration of Automativ, a secure visual workflow automation platform. You will be building directed graphs in a drag and drop browser canvas, connecting external webhooks to actions like HTTP requests and AI integrations, and also managing your encrypted provider keys. So without further ado, let's go to our application. What I'm doing here is that I've already logged into an account and subscribed to the Pro plan. Polar is handling our billing aspect, while BetterAuth and Google OAuth clients are helping us manage the application identity and user sessions. Conf- Configuring Google and GitHub OAuth clients alongside BetterAuth, we have a seamless social sign-in capability experience. Now, as for the application, we are also helping store the credentials that we have for different things. So let's say the services we have are Anthropic, OpenAI, and Gemini. What we are doing is that we are using a library named Crypto to help encrypt the user API keys and save them. With the help of an encryption key, we're able to successfully achieve it in our database. As for the database, we're using Postgres in conjunction with Neon and Prisma as an ORM. So Prisma is helping us manage the database schema. It helps to query data and it's also helping us enforce relationships like cascading deletions when a workflow is removed. All right, with that out of the way, let's go and see the kind of workflows we have. What if you want to trigger an action whenever a Google form is submitted? So what we are doing here is that we have three nodes connected here on the React Flow canvas. And if you want to know more about the canvas details, here's a workflow canvas guide that you can learn through. All right. Now, what I've done is that I've already followed these steps. I've opened my app script, I've configured everything. And now if I submit a URL in my Google form, what's going to happen is that it's going to process it, fetch that URL, and it's going to send a response to Discord, right? As for the background jobs, the main core execution engine of our application, we're using ingest and ingest real time. So ingest is executing our workflow sequentially and it will guarantee steps run safely. And as for the ingest real time, what we are doing is that we are updating the nodes in real time. Like we are updating the status of these nodes in real time with the help of ingest real time. Let's do this. Let's try to submit it. So I've submitted it. It's gonna trigger a job in ingest. Seems like it's running. And with the help of ingest real time, we were able to see the current node statuses. Now what it did is that it sent a message in my Discord. So it was successfully able to fetch the HTTP request that we sent. Here's the thing. We have Google form. We submitted a URL. The URL got fetched and it was sent to our Discord, which is pretty easy peasy. And if you want to look through the execution of this Google form, you can just click here and you'll be able to see the execution that's happening. There we go. I'm currently running a development environment, so an error or two might be there. However, for these errors, we are using Sentry. So if there are any errors which we need to resolve down the line, we'll be able to go into Sentry and we'll be able to figure out where these errors are coming from. Right? So we have the complete thing in front of us. The workflow we had, the execution history of it, we are able to see it. Now let's move to another example. So what if you want to use an OpenAI node? What I'm doing here is that here's one manual trigger. I've described how it works. And if you want to have more triggers, you can go to the sidebar and add more triggers and actions. So you don't have to worry about that. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to give a prompt which will return me a URL endpoint to fetch, and I will fetch it with the help of an HTTP request. So let's do this. Let's see if it fetches it or not. Seems like it's working. Now OpenAI is working. Let's wait for a second. All right, it's also working. Let's open execution. So we go to OpenAI. There we go. We have the complete URL which got fetched. That's example number 2. Let's go to another example. So we have a Stripe and a Discord example. What if you have Stripe integrated to an application, and you want to trigger an action whenever a certain action happens in Stripe. I know it's a bit confusing, but let's hear it. So I've configured an environment where I'm in a sandbox environment, and I have configured it. So what I'm trying to do is that I have to log into my CLI to test this thing. I've already logged into my CLI. I've selected the thing that I want to capture. Let's say I want to have an event which is by the name of payment intent or succeeded. I want to capture it. I want to track it. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna send the command, right? The test event. I've logged in, and I'm gonna trigger an event with the help of CLI. Let's do this thing. So what it's doing is that I've sent the payment intent succeeded trigger, right? There we go. So what's gonna happen is that it got completed. All right. Let's see. Do we have it in Discord? Let's wait for it. Give me 1 second. Let me try to debug it. Why it's not working here? It seems like it's working in here. Okay. Maybe it's crashing in the PowerShell. There we go. It's working now. So we sent the event, right? It's running, and it's running here. Awesome. So maybe the PowerShell wasn't working well. So let's do this again. We send the event. It's gonna run in the background. So we've made an event in Stripe. It's happening in real time in our workflow, and it's also sending the confirmation to the Discord channel we have. There we go. So you have all the details. Every node has details how you have to configure every single thing, and then you can just chain it up with anything, any node that you want. You can chain it up, you can chain it up with an OpenAI node where it goes from here to here, and you have something that which will process the data that will be happening, and then you can pass that to Discord. It's up to you. And that's also done. So let's go here to another example. Slack isn't working because apparently you need a paid plan for the workflow thing. So however, if you still want to follow it, what you can do is you can click on the Slack node. You'll be able to see the details and instructions, and it will be working as soon as you'll be able to follow the instructions and paste the webhook URL. That's why we are using the ngrok URL, so that the webhook events that we are doing from Slack, that we're doing from Discord, that we're doing from Stripe, that we're doing from Google Form, they are working successfully. There we go. With that, Slack isn't working because we need a paid plan for that. We're using BetterAuth for the authentication aspect of the application. So there's that. Now, let's go to another example. What if you have a manual trigger, you want to fetch an HTTP request, and you also want to make a post request in HTTP? What I'm going to do, manual trigger doesn't do anything. It just tells about what you can do in certain situations. So we have a GET request. We're making a GET request to a placeholder marquee API, right? And what we're doing is that we are passing that variable that we had here, so that we can make a post request, right? So what we can do is that for post request, we can refer the data which the previous node had, right? So this is one of the examples that we can do. So we have a manual trigger. We're getting the data, and we are storing the data here, right? With the GET request, what we're doing, and we are making a post request where we are also referring the data that we got from the previous node, which is pretty easy peasy. All right. Now we can also do one thing. It's another example of a GET request where we're getting the data. We're storing that data in a variable, and we are just straight up passing that variable itself in the post request. So you can either have like a conjunction of normal data with the variable that was passed through, or you can just simply pass through the variable that we have. But if you want to pass the variable as it is, you just have to prefix it with JSON, so that it'll so that the backend is able to parse it properly. Because as we are using handlebars, the templating engine, which is allowing us to write dynamic variables in the node configurations, So we need to pass the JSON in front of it. All right. We're gonna in a similar fashion we can use or we can use our nodes in a chained manner. We can do a GET request. We can post with the custom body without referencing any variable at all, or we can reference the variable that we had from a previous node. So it's just a way of passing data, that's all. As for the last request, we can also chain multiple GET requests. They won't fail. So you can have nodes chained together in different things. And if you have any error, let's say if I'm having error like this, okay, the error is gone. But yeah, if you have any errors, it's gonna show here. If you have any errors, it will be visible in the sentry you have. And if you want to check the execution, we have this thing where you can click on the executions, which are categorized, and you'll be able to see them. As for the billing, you can just go in the billing portal. You'll be able to see what you're subscribed to, how much you're subscribed to, right? There we go. And ingest is acting as our background engine. So, in a nutshell, automotive is helping you run your workflows without much hassle. And if you want to check an automation project which is even further more upgraded in a way that it uses AI, it heavily relies on AI, you can check Forge Flow, which is an upgrade over automotive that I've made, which will be linked in a different video. So this was automotive. I hope you liked it.